Hello there, and welcome to this peaceful place. Tonight, we're going to journey through the story of gold, the eternal metal that has captivated humanity for thousands of years. From its birth in the hearts of dying stars, to its place in central bank vaults, from ancient tombs to modern markets, we'll explore gold slowly, gently, one shimmering fact at a time. You don't need to remember every detail you hear. These are simply stories that gold tells, whispers of value, permanence, and the quiet patience of wealth that endures through centuries. Let these facts settle over you like the soft glow of candlelight on polished metal, carrying you toward rest. If you enjoy this journey, consider liking and subscribing or sharing your thoughts in the comments. It helps others find their way here too. But for now, all you need to do is breathe slowly, let your body settle, and imagine yourself surrounded by the warm, timeless glow of gold. Now, if you're ready, let's begin our journey into the heart of the most precious metal. And as your breathing settles into a slow, steady rhythm, imagine looking up at the night sky. Every atom of gold on Earth, every wedding ring, every coin, every bar in every vault, all of it was born in the violent death of stars, forged in supernovae and neutron star collisions billions of years ago. Gold is stardust, quite literally, ancient and rare, scattered across our planet like cosmic gifts. With each calm breath, drift back through time, back to the very beginning. Let the story of gold's birth carry you gently into wonder. Gold was created in the collision of neutron stars. When massive stars explode as supernovae, they create many heavy elements, but gold requires something even more extreme. Scientists believe most of Earth's gold was created when neutron stars, the collapsed cores of dead stars, collided with unimaginable force. These collisions, called kilonovae, release so much energy they briefly outshine entire galaxies. In those few seconds, the universe forges gold, platinum, and other heavy elements, scattering them into space as cosmic dust. Every gold atom is at least 4.6 billion years old. The gold in your jewelry, in electronics, in bank vaults, all of it existed before Earth formed. When our solar system was just a swirling cloud of dust and gas, gold atoms were already there, ancient travelers from stellar catastrophes. As Earth coalesced from this primordial cloud, gold sank toward the planet's core due to its density. Most of Earth's gold remains unreachable, deep in the molten core, forever beyond our grasp. The gold we mine today arrived as a gift from space. Here's a beautiful secret. The gold accessible in Earth's crust shouldn't be here at all. It should have sunk to the core with the rest during Earth's formation. But hundreds of millions of years after Earth solidified, during what scientists call the Late Heavy Bombardment, asteroids pelted our planet. These cosmic visitors carried gold from their own ancient origins, depositing it in Earth's outer layers where we could eventually find it. Every gold ring, every coin, every bar, all of it came from space, delivered by asteroids. Gifts from the heavens that took billions of years to arrive in your hands. All the gold ever mined would fit in a cube just 22 meters on each side. Despite thousands of years of mining, all the gold humanity has ever extracted would form a cube about 22 meters, roughly 72 feet, on each side. That's about the size of a small office building. The total amount is estimated at around 210,000 metric tons. This includes every gold ring ever worn, every coin ever minted, every bar in Fort Knox, every dental filling, every circuit board, all of it, gathered together, would fit in a surprisingly small space. Gold is genuinely rare. Gold is virtually indestructible and never tarnishes. Unlike iron that rusts or silver that tarnishes, gold remains unchanged through centuries. A gold coin buried for 1,000 years emerges as bright as the day it was minted. Gold doesn't corrode, doesn't oxidize, doesn't decay. This permanence is part of gold's mystique. It represents something eternal in a world of impermanence. The gold atoms in an ancient Egyptian artifact are identical to those in a modern bullion bar, unchanged across millennium. Ancient Egyptians called gold the flesh of the gods. In ancient Egypt, gold was considered divine, the physical manifestation of the sun god Ra. Pharaohs were entombed with elaborate gold treasures, believing it would protect them in the afterlife and affirm their godly status. The famous mask of Tutankhamun, made of solid gold, weighs about 11 kilograms. It has remained brilliant and uncorroded for over 3,300 years, testament to gold's eternal nature. King Croesus of Lydia minted the first standardized gold coins around 550 BCE. Before coins, gold was traded in nuggets or bars of varying purity and weight, making trade complicated. King Croesus solved this by creating standardized coins of guaranteed weight and purity, stamped with his royal seal. This innovation revolutionized commerce. For the first time, people could trust the value of their money without weighing and testing each piece. Gold became not just wealth, but currency, flowing through economies like blood through veins. Gold has been a symbol of wealth and power across every civilization. From ancient China to pre-Columbian Americas, from African kingdoms to European empires, every culture that encountered gold valued it supremely. This universal appeal spans continents, languages, and thousands of years. Why? Partly its beauty and rarity, partly its permanence, but also something deeper, an instinctive recognition of value that seems embedded in human nature itself. The chemical symbol for gold, Au, comes from the Latin word aurum. Aurum means shining dawn in Latin, capturing gold's warm, solar glow. Gold is element 79 on the periodic table, with unique properties that make it special even among metals. It's one of the least reactive chemical elements. It conducts electricity excellently. It's extraordinarily malleable. A single gram of gold can be beaten into a sheet covering a square meter. These properties make gold both beautiful and useful. More gold exists in the world's oceans than has ever been mined. Seawater contains gold, about 13 billionths of a gram per liter. Across all the oceans, this amounts to roughly 20 million tons of dissolved gold, far more than all land reserves combined. However, extracting it would cost far more than the gold's worth. It remains there, dissolved and diffuse, a treasure forever out of reach, suspended in the eternal currents of the sea. Gold is so soft, you can shape it with your hands. Pure gold is remarkably soft, about the same hardness as a human fingernail. You could dent 24-karat gold by pressing your thumbnail into it. This is why jewelry is usually made with gold alloys, mixing in harder metals like copper or silver. This softness also makes gold incredibly workable. Ancient craftsmen could hammer gold into elaborate designs using simple tools, creating beauty that still astonishes us thousands of years later. A single ounce of gold can be stretched into impossibility. Gold's malleability reaches almost magical proportions. 1 troy ounce can be drawn into a wire over 50 miles long, thin enough to be invisible from just a few feet away, yet still conductive, still gold. Or that same ounce can be beaten into gold leaf so thin it becomes translucent, covering over 300 square feet. Hold such leaf up to sunlight and it glows with an ethereal greenish light. As photons pass through atoms spread impossibly thin, gold becomes ghost-like, barely there, yet still itself. Gold feels alive when you hold it. Pick up a gold coin fresh from storage and it shocks you with its coldness. Gold is a greedy conductor of heat, pulling warmth from your fingers faster than almost any other metal. But within moments, that chill fades. The gold absorbs your body's heat until it reaches exactly your temperature, until it feels neither hot nor cold, until it feels like part of your own skin. This thermal intimacy, this way gold becomes temperature neutral in your hand, creates a strange sensation as if the metal is alive, breathing, connecting with you. As civilizations rose and fell, as empires expanded and collapsed, as languages were born and died, gold remained constant, passing from hand to hand, from treasury to treasury, accumulating stories with each transfer. Every gold coin has witnessed history. Every bar bears the invisible fingerprints of countless generations. Let us drift now through the centuries, following gold's journey through human civilization, through conquest and commerce, through hoarding and spending, through the patient accumulation of wealth. Breathe slowly. Let history's weight settle gently around you. The story of gold is the story of us. The Spanish conquest of the Americas was driven largely by gold. When Spanish conquistadors arrived in the Americas, they found civilizations rich in gold. The Aztecs, the Incas, cultures that had worked gold into elaborate art for centuries. The Incas even had a legend of El Dorado, a city of gold. The Spanish stripped these empires of their gold, melting down priceless artifacts into bars and shipping them back to Europe. This influx of New World gold transformed the European economy and funded Spain's rise as a global power. One man's pilgrimage once collapsed an entire economy with gold. When Mansa Musa, emperor of Mali and possibly the wealthiest person in history, embarked on a pilgrimage to Mecca, his caravan included thousands of attendants, and he carried so much gold that in every city he passed through, Cairo, Medina, Mecca, he distributed it freely as charity and gifts. In Cairo alone, his generosity was so overwhelming that the sudden influx of gold caused massive inflation. The value of gold plummeted, and it took over a decade for Cairo's economy to recover. One man, one journey, enough gold to destabilize nations. The image is both magnificent and humbling. Gold flowing through economies like blood through veins, and Mansa Musa as a golden flood that changed the world simply by passing through. The California gold rush of 1849 drew 300,000 people west. When gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill in California in 1848, word spread like wildfire. Within a year, thousands were streaming west, abandoning farms, shops, and families in pursuit of fortune. Ships arriving in San Francisco were abandoned by crews rushing to the gold fields. Most found no gold. Many died. But the rush transformed California from a quiet backwater into a booming state, accelerating American expansion and creating fortunes that built cities. During the gold standard, currencies were directly backed by gold reserves. For much of the 19th and early 20th centuries, major currencies operated on the gold standard. Paper money was essentially a receipt for gold held in government vaults. You could, in theory, exchange your dollars for actual gold at a fixed rate. This system provided stability. Governments couldn't print unlimited money, but also rigidity. During economic crises, countries couldn't easily adjust their money supply. the gold standard was gradually abandoned, fully ending in 1971 when President Nixon closed the gold window. Fort Knox holds approximately 147.3 million troy ounces of gold. Deep inside a fortified vault in Kentucky, the United States stores a significant portion of its gold reserves. Fort Knox has become synonymous with impregnable security, though no outside auditor has fully inspected its gold since 1953. At current prices, Fort Knox's gold is worth over $350 billion. It sits in darkness, behind massive doors, layer upon layer of security, protecting metal that represents national wealth and confidence. Central banks hold gold because it's a hedge against currency instability. When paper money loses value due to inflation or economic crisis, gold typically holds its purchasing power. This is why central banks worldwide maintain gold reserves as insurance. During times of war, hyperinflation, or banking collapse, gold becomes the ultimate safe haven. It has no counterparty risk. It doesn't depend on anyone's promise or any government stability. It simply is valuable in itself. Switzerland's constitution once required 40% gold backing for its currency. Swiss financial stability was legendary, partly because of strict gold backing requirements. This requirement was removed in 1999, but Switzerland still maintains substantial gold reserves. The Swiss Central Bank holds about 1,040 tons of gold, representing roughly 5% of its total assets. This gold, distributed across secure vaults in Switzerland and abroad, represents stability incarnate. In times of crisis, gold demand surges as people seek safety. During the 2008 financial crisis, gold prices soared as confidence in banks and governments wavered. During COVID-19, the same pattern repeated. When uncertainty reigns, people return to the ancient safety of gold. It's a pattern older than recorded history. In uncertain times, hold something real, something tangible, something that has held value across millennia. Gold has never gone to zero. No empire, no matter how mighty, can say the same. Gold has zero counterparty risk. It depends on no one's promise. A dollar is a promise from a government. A stock certificate is a promise from a company. A bond is a promise from a debtor. All can be broken, but gold is not a promise. It's a thing, complete in itself. This fundamental difference explains gold's enduring appeal. It requires no trust, no faith in institutions. Physical gold in your hand is wealth that exists independent of human agreements or government decisions. Gold is the only financial asset that is not someone else's liability. Think deeply about this. Every other financial instrument, currencies, bonds, stocks, even bank deposits, represents a claim on someone else. They exist as entries in ledgers, as promises backed by trust in institutions. Gold alone stands apart. It is no one's debt. It requires no counterparty to honor an obligation. In a world of endless digital promises, of numbers that change with keystrokes, gold is the ultimate silence, solid, present, real. When you hold gold, you hold something that simply is, asking nothing, promising nothing, just existing in perfect financial solitude. The world's central banks collectively hold about 35,000 metric tons of gold. Governments that publicly trade in paper money, that can print currency at will, still choose to hold thousands of tons of gold in their deepest vaults. This speaks volumes. If gold were truly irrelevant in a modern financial system, why would central banks hold any? Yet they do, substantial amounts, and they continue to buy more, especially during uncertain times. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "Gold is the money of kings." The full quote continues, "Gold is the money of kings, silver is the money of gentlemen, bar is the money of peasants, and debt is the money of slaves. Throughout history, those with gold had power. Kings hoarded it, empires conquered for it, and common people, when they could, saved it, understanding instinctively that gold represented security that nothing else could match. From ancient tombs and royal treasuries, gold has found its way into the modern world. Now it flows through electronic markets, traded in milliseconds, prices flashing across screens worldwide. Yet beneath the digital surface, the same old metal rests in vaults, unchanging, patient, eternal. Let us explore now how gold moves through today's markets, how it's valued, how it's traded, how ancient metal meets modern finance in a dance of value and trust. Breathe deeply. Let the complexity settle into simplicity. Gold remains gold regardless of how we trade it. Gold is priced in troy ounces, a system dating to medieval France. A troy ounce equals 31.1035 grams, slightly heavier than a standard ounce. This archaic measurement persists because tradition matters in gold markets. It connects modern trading to centuries of history. When people speak of gold at $2,000 per ounce, they mean per troy ounce. This price, determined in global markets, changes moment by moment as traders buy and sell. The London Bullion Market Association sets the global gold price twice daily. In a tradition dating back over a century, major banks meet electronically to set benchmark gold prices. These London fixes at 10:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. London time serve as reference points for gold trades worldwide. Billions of dollars in contracts settle based on these prices. The process is part tradition, part technology, establishing consensus on the value of the eternal metal. Gold trades 24 hours a day across global markets. As markets close in New York, they open in Tokyo. As Tokyo lunds down, London awakens. Gold never sleeps. It flows continuously around the world, bought and sold in an endless cycle. Major trading centers include London, New York, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Zurich. Each contributes to price discovery, each reflecting local demand and global sentiment. China and India together account for over 50% of global gold demand. In India, gold is interwoven with culture. No wedding is complete without gold jewelry. In China, gold symbolizes prosperity and is traditionally gifted during New Year. Both nations have populations that instinctively trust gold over paper money. This Eastern demand provides a floor under gold prices. During Western economic expansions, when gold investment wanes, Asian cultural demand continues steady, absorbing supply. The ticker symbol XAU represents 1 troy ounce of gold. In financial markets, XAU is gold's abbreviation. The AU comes from gold's chemical symbol, while X is a prefix used for international currency codes of precious metals. When you see XAU/USD quoted, it means the price of 1 troy ounce of gold in US dollars. This simple code represents something ancient traded in something modern. Gold correlates inversely with the US dollar. Generally, when the dollar strengthens, gold becomes more expensive in other currencies, reducing demand and lowering prices. When the dollar weakens, gold often rises as it becomes cheaper in other currencies and serves as an alternative store of value. This inverse relationship isn't perfect, but it's persistent enough that traders watch dollar movements closely when trading gold. Exchange-traded funds have democratized gold investment. Previously, buying gold meant buying physical bars or coins, expensive, requiring secure storage. Gold ETFs, introduced in the early 2000s, allow anyone to invest in gold through their brokerage account. The largest gold ETF, SPDR Gold Shares, or SPDR, holds over $60 billion in gold bullion stored in secure vaults. Shares can be bought and sold as easily as stocks, bringing gold investment to millions. Mining companies' stocks often amplify gold price movements. When gold prices rise 10%, mining companies' stocks might rise 20% or more as their profit margins expand. When gold falls, miners fall further as fixed costs eat into shrinking revenues. This leverage makes mining stocks attractive to gold bulls willing to take extra risk and terrifying to gold bears who watch miners collapse when the metal falls. Central banks have become net buyers of gold since 2010. After decades of selling gold reserves, central banks reversed course around 2010. Countries like Russia, China, Turkey, and India have substantially increased their gold holdings. This shift suggests institutional recognition that gold retains value even as confidence in traditional reserve currencies fluctuates. When central banks buy gold, they're buying insurance against their own currencies. Gold's market cap is approximately $15 trillion at around $2,000 per ounce and roughly 210,000 metric tons of above-ground gold. The total value of all gold ever mined approximates $15 trillion. This makes gold's market capitalization smaller than some individual companies, yet larger than most countries' GDPs. It's a massive market, yet finite in a way that currencies are not. No one can print more gold. No government can decree it into existence. Supply increases only through the slow, difficult process of mining. The gold-to-silver ratio measures relative value between the two precious metals. Historically, this ratio has averaged around 15:1 to 50:1. Meaning an ounce of gold bought 15 to 50 ounces of silver. The ratio fluctuates with economic conditions. Traders watch this ratio for arbitrage opportunities and as a sentiment indicator. Extreme ratios, very high or very low, often precede mean reversion, creating trading opportunities for those patient enough to wait. But where does gold come from today? How do we extract ancient atoms from stone and earth? Deep underground, in massive operations spanning miles, miners pursue the yellow metal with industrial determination. Let us descend now into the mines themselves, into tunnels carved through rock, into the patient, dangerous work of pulling gold from the planet's grip. The earth does not give up its gold easily. It must be earned through labor, through time, through the transformation of mountain into metal. Breathe slowly. Feel the weight of stone above you. Sense the patient darkness of the deep earth where gold waits, unchanged, until humans dig it free. Gold ore typically contains just a few grams per metric ton. Imagine processing a ton of rock, 2,000 pounds, to extract gold the size of a few paper clips. That's modern gold mining. Ore grades have declined over decades as easy deposits were exhausted. This means mining companies must move and process enormous amounts of material for relatively small amounts of gold. The economics work only because gold's value is so high. South Africa was once the world's largest gold producer. The Witwatersrand Basin in South Africa produced over half the world's gold through much of the 20th century. Mines descended over 2 miles deep, among the deepest anywhere, working deposits that had yielded gold since the 1880s. Today, South Africa has fallen to around 7th place as its reserves depleted. The crown has passed to China, which now produces about 11% of the world's annual gold supply. It takes roughly 7 to 10 years to bring a new gold mine from discovery to production. Finding gold is just the beginning. Companies must drill extensively to define the ore body, conduct environmental studies, obtain permits, build infrastructure, and finally begin mining. This long timeline means gold supply responds slowly to price changes. High prices eventually bring new supply, but only after years of development. This lag creates cyclical price movements. Gold mining is one of the most dangerous occupations in the world. Deep mines face constant risks: collapses, flooding, equipment failures, toxic gases. South African mines reaching depths where rock temperatures exceed 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit must be cooled artificially to remain workable. Thousands have died in gold mines over the decades. The beauty in jewelry and vaults carries with it the weight of those who labored and sometimes perished to extract it. The Grasberg mine in Indonesia is one of the largest gold mines on Earth. Located in the remote mountains of Papua, Grasberg is an enormous open pit that produces gold alongside copper. At its peak, it was the world's largest gold mine, producing over 2 million ounces annually. The mine's elevation at 4,000 meters and remote location make operations challenging, yet it continues producing, testimony to gold's value, overcoming logistical obstacles. Processing gold ore requires massive amounts of water and energy. Modern gold processing involves crushing rock to powder, mixing it with water and chemicals like cyanide to dissolve gold, then separating metal from solution. The process is energy-intensive and requires careful environmental management. Large operations can use as much electricity as a small city and consume millions of gallons of water daily. The environmental cost of gold is substantial, though the industry has improved practices significantly. Some of the world's gold comes from recycling old jewelry and electronics. About 25–30% of annual gold supply comes not from mines, but from recycling. Old jewelry is melted down, electronic components are processed to recover traces of gold. Dental gold is reclaimed. This recycled gold is indistinguishable from freshly mined gold. The atoms are identical, whether pulled from the earth last month or from a Victorian-era necklace. Peak gold theory suggests we may have already found most easily accessible deposits. Some geologists believe we've discovered the majority of large, high-grade gold deposits. Future mining will target deeper, lower-grade, or more remote deposits, increasing production costs. If true, this means gold supply will struggle to grow significantly, even with higher prices. Scarcity, already a feature of gold, may intensify, supporting long-term value. Artisanal miners produce approximately 15–20% of the world's gold. In developing nations, millions of small-scale miners work independently or in small groups, using simple tools and often hazardous methods involving mercury. These artisanal operations collectively produce a significant portion of global supply. The work is dangerous and poorly regulated, but for many in impoverished regions, gold mining offers income unavailable elsewhere. Each grain of gold tells a human story. The world's deepest gold mine extends nearly 4 kilometers underground. Mponeng mine in South Africa reaches depths of 3.9 kilometers, over 2.4 miles. At such depths, temperatures are extreme, requiring constant ventilation and cooling. Travel time to the workface can take over an hour. Working in such conditions is difficult to imagine, yet miners descend daily, pursuing gold that has waited for billions of years in darkness. From the mines, gold flows into refineries, then into bars and coins, into vaults and portfolios. It becomes not just metal, but investment, not just commodity, but financial instrument. Let us explore now the many ways people hold gold, the strategies they employ, the philosophies they follow. Some hold it for profit, others for protection. Some trade it daily, others buy and never sell. All recognize in gold something valuable, something worth owning. something that speaks to an ancient instinct for preservation. Breathe deeply. Consider what wealth means. Consider what endures. Gold has answered these questions for millennia. Gold is considered a hedge against inflation. When the purchasing power of currency declines, when a dollar buys less than it did before, gold typically maintains its real value. An ounce of gold bought a fine suit in Roman times. It buys one today. This inflation protection makes gold valuable in portfolios, particularly during periods when central banks print money aggressively, diluting currency value. Gold often performs well during economic crises. When stock markets crash, when banks fail, when governments appear unstable, gold tends to rise as investors flee to safety. The 2008 financial crisis saw gold rally strongly as faith in the financial system wavered. This negative correlation with risk assets makes gold valuable for portfolio diversification. When stocks fall, gold often rises, smoothing overall returns. The traditional advice is to hold 5 to 10% of a portfolio in gold. Financial advisors often suggest modest gold allocation as insurance, not speculation. The idea is not to get rich from gold, but to preserve wealth when everything else falters. Harry Brown's permanent portfolio recommended 25% gold alongside stocks, bonds, and cash, believing each asset class thrives in different economic environments. Over decades, this approach delivered steady, stable returns. Physical gold comes in bars, coins, and jewelry. Bars range from 1-gram wafers to 400 troy-ounce London Good delivery bars weighing about 12.4 kilograms or 27 pounds. Coins like the American Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, and South African Krugerrand are popular for smaller investments. Physical gold has advantages. It's tangible, private, and doesn't depend on financial institutions, but also disadvantages: storage costs, insurance needs, and less liquidity than paper gold. Physical jewelry serves as both adornment and portable wealth. In many cultures, particularly in India and the Middle East, jewelry functions as wearable savings. Women receive gold at weddings, accumulating wealth they can access during emergencies. This tradition recognizes gold's dual nature: beautiful and valuable, cultural and financial. A gold necklace is inheritance and investment simultaneously. Gold doesn't generate income, it just sits there. Unlike stocks that pay dividends or bonds that pay interest, gold produces nothing. It simply exists, hoping to appreciate or preserve value. This makes gold less attractive during economic expansions when interest rates and corporate profits are rising. But this same characteristic becomes valuable during contractions. When counterparty risks rise and promises become suspect, gold's lack of yield doesn't matter. Survival matters. Warren Buffett famously criticized gold as an unproductive asset. Buffett pointed out that all the gold ever mined could buy all U.S. cropland plus 10 ExxonMobils with money left over. Yet investors choose inert metal over productive assets. His point: gold creates nothing, employs no one, generates no products. Yet gold advocates counter, that's the point. Gold's value lies not in what it does, but in what it is: unchanging, permanent, beyond manipulation. Gold can be highly volatile in the short term. While gold preserves purchasing power over centuries, it can swing wildly year to year. In 2011, gold touched $1,900. By 2015, it had fallen to $1,050. In 2020, it surged past $2,000 before correcting again. This volatility means gold should be held long-term. Those who buy during manias and sell during crashes discover that even gold can disappoint. Patience is essential. Some investors use gold miners as leveraged exposure to gold prices. As mentioned earlier, mining stocks amplify gold's movements. This appeals to aggressive investors seeking higher returns than physical gold offers. However, mining stocks carry additional risks. Operational problems, political instability in mining regions, management mistakes, labor disputes. They're not pure gold exposure. They're businesses that happen to dig up gold. Central banks' gold buying is often seen as a long-term bullish signal. When institutions with the most sophisticated economic analysis choose to hold gold, it suggests they see value or necessity in it. China's steady gold accumulation signals distrust of dollar dominance. This institutional demand provides support for gold prices. Central banks think in decades and centuries, not quarters. Their gold buying reflects long-term perspective few individual investors maintain. Gold has no counterparty risk, but storage and security are concerns. Physical gold owned outright depends on nothing and no one, but it must be stored securely. Home safes, safety deposit boxes, or professional vault services all have costs and limitations. This leads many investors towards allocated gold in professional vaults or ETFs, accepting some counterparty risk in exchange for convenience and lower costs. We've journeyed from the stars where gold was born, through history's empires and economies, through modern markets and deep mines. Now let us look ahead, toward gold's future, toward the role it will play in coming decades and centuries. Gold has survived every empire's fall, every currency's collapse, every crisis humanity has faced. What will the future bring? No one knows for certain, but gold, patient and unchanging, will endure. Breathe deeply now. Let the journey settle. Consider what you've learned. Feel the continuity between past and future, with gold as the constant thread. The eternal metal awaits whatever comes, just as it always has. Gold's role in technology continues to expand. Beyond finance and jewelry, gold serves critical functions in electronics, aerospace, and medicine. Its excellent conductivity and corrosion resistance make it irreplaceable in many applications. Every smartphone contains a tiny amount of gold in its circuits. Space satellites rely on gold for radiation protection. Medical devices use gold for biocompatibility. Technological demand for gold may grow as these applications expand. Some predict gold will return to a formal role in monetary systems. Economists like Jim Rickards argue that unsustainable debt levels and currency debasement will eventually force a return to gold-backed money. They point to history. Every fiat currency eventually fails. While mainstream consensus disagrees, continued central bank gold buying suggests that even governments hedge against this possibility. Gold remains in reserve, just in case. Climate change may affect gold mining significantly. Many mines require enormous amounts of water and energy. As water becomes scarcer and carbon costs rise, mining may become more expensive or restricted. This could constrain supply, supporting prices. Additionally, some major mining regions face climate-related risks, extreme heat, water scarcity, or political instability exacerbated by environmental stress. Asteroid mining could theoretically bring vast gold supplies to Earth. Some asteroids contain more gold than has been mined in all human history. Private companies are developing technology to mine space resources within decades. However, the costs are astronomical and the timeline uncertain. For the foreseeable future, gold remains earthbound and scarce. Space gold, if it ever arrives, lies far in the future. Younger generations show less interest in gold than their elders. Millennials and Gen Z gravitate towards digital assets like cryptocurrencies rather than physical gold. This generational shift could affect long-term demand, though cultural preferences can change during crises. Interestingly, when economic troubles hit, even skeptical younger investors often turn to gold, suggesting its appeal transcends generational preferences during genuine fear. Bitcoin advocates call their cryptocurrency digital gold. Bitcoin shares some of gold's characteristics: fixed supply, decentralization and independence from governments. Some believe Bitcoin will replace gold as the preferred store of value. Yet Bitcoin is barely a decade old. Gold has 5,000 years of history. Whether digital can truly replace physical remains one of the great financial questions of our time. Gold will likely remain a central bank reserve asset indefinitely. Despite predictions of gold's irrelevance, central banks continue holding substantial reserves. This institutional support ensures gold retains monetary importance. Even if individual investors' interest wanes, sovereign demand, nations protecting against currency risk, provides a foundation for gold's value. The gold-to-oil ratio has historically predicted economic health. When gold is cheap relative to oil, economies are typically healthy and expanding. When gold is expensive relative to oil, it suggests economic stress or energy abundance. Ratios like this connect gold to the broader economy, demonstrating its role as an economic indicator beyond its role as an investment. Every gold atom on Earth is part of a finite, eternal stock. Unlike currencies that can be printed or resources that can be grown, gold is fixed. What exists now is all that will exist for the foreseeable future, aside from the tiny annual additions from mining. This absolute scarcity is fundamental to gold's value. When everything else can be created at will, gold remains stubbornly finite. Gold endures because it represents something beyond economics. Ultimately, gold's power comes not from its chemical properties or industrial uses, but from collective human belief maintained across millennia. We value it because others value it, because our ancestors valued it, because we believe future generations will value it. This self-fulfilling belief has survived empires, ideologies, and technologies. It may be the most durable aspect of human culture, the shared recognition that this particular metal means something special. Gold is the Lindy effect made tangible. The Lindy effect suggests that the longer something has survived, the longer it's likely to continue surviving. Gold has been valued for 5,000 years of recorded history. By the Lindy effect, it will likely be valued for 5,000 more. Every day gold remains valuable adds to the probability it will remain so tomorrow. This creates a self-reinforcing loop. Gold is valuable because it has always been valuable, and it will remain valuable because it is valuable now. In a universe of constant change, gold offers the closest thing to permanence that wealth can achieve. And so, we've journeyed through gold's story, from the depths of stars to the vaults of today, from ancient pharaohs to modern traders, from deep mines to digital markets. Through all of history's changes, gold has remained constant, a thread of continuity connecting past to present to future. You don't need to remember every fact you've heard tonight. What matters is the feeling gold represents: permanence in a changing world, value that transcends individual governments or economies, beauty that doesn't fade. As you drift towards sleep now, imagine a single gold coin resting in your palm. Feel its weight, its coolness, its perfect smoothness. This coin has existed longer than you've been alive, longer than your country has existed. The atoms within it were forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years before Earth formed. And they'll exist billions of years after you're gone, unchanging, eternal, patient. There's something comforting in that permanence, something peaceful in knowing that some things endure. Let your breathing match gold's patience, slow, steady, eternal. Your body growing heavier, more relaxed, like gold settling into its proper place. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of gold, consider liking and subscribing, or sharing this with someone who finds beauty in timeless things. But all of that can wait for tomorrow. Right now, Just rest. Let the warm glow of gold's story surround you, protect you, carry you into peaceful sleep. The eternal metal rests in vaults around the world, patient and unchanging. And you can rest too, held by the same timeless patience, the same enduring calm. Good night, traveler. May your dreams be golden, your sleep deep, and your rest as complete as the satisfaction of holding something truly valuable.